Hi submarine friends. You have to excuse I have a light that's flashing on and off. So here's the progress of the diesel electric submarine. I could not be happier. I cut it up successfully, no problem at all. It's not very stinky, that's really nice. If you cut up a propane tank and it's really stinky, light a fire inside it. Throw a bunch of crap in there, light it on fire, and that burns that stinky layer of liquid off the bottom, and then they don't smell at all. But this one's fine. But when you start cutting these things, the smell goes away. So this section right here is this part of the submarine. So this gets cut and tapered at the back. This part of the submarine, this is the occupant section, that's still sitting outside. This section here, another ballast tank, I haven't built yet. So this section here, this guy, it actually is the aft ballast tank, plus it houses a large carbon fiber air tank. Please, no carbon fiber jokes. So this carbon fiber tank can handle 3,600 PSI, and it's the air supply for blowing ballast. So you can see this is going to be a pretty big ballast tank. So that tank is 5 feet long and 21 inches in diameter, and it starts about here because the aft head on the pressure tank curves into this space. So this end here welds up right up against that curved head. So then the tank comes all the way to here. See, there goes my light again. So the next thing, I could not be happier about this part. When I was buying this tank, the seller had 3 different tanks, but they were all exactly the same size. I didn't care which one I got. I let him pick. For whatever reason, he picked this one. So I bring this tank home and I fill it with water and I cut a big opening in it where the conning tower goes, and the metal looks pretty thick. I thought it was going to be 0.34, which is the thickness based on a tag from the other tanks. This tag is damaged, so we didn't know what the thickness was. I assumed they were the same. The good news is, this tank is 7/16 thick. So that's a big benefit for me because now I have to add less weight in lead to make the thing sink because it's too buoyant. And the other thing is, it gives me extra depth rating for free. So I'm only shooting for a 100-foot operating depth with, I'd like to have a 2-to-1 safety margin, but I'm going to have more. So with the 0.34 thickness, which is what I thought it was, an engineer friend of mine ran it through all the programs, and it would have a depth rating of 105 feet with an unstiffened hull. That means no rings inside. I am putting rings inside, but with no rings, it's 105 feet. With a failure of 266 feet. So that's a really nice safety margin right there. But now that it's 7/16 thick, I'm guessing, I'm just taking a guess, but I think my depth rating will jump to 150 feet. Not that I care, or not that I need it, but it's just, you know, it gives you that nice feeling when you've got a ton of extra rating. Like windows are a 6-to-1 pressure rating. So what I have to do now is I have to set up a laser, the kind we use in construction, to make a nice vertical line on a wall. So I'll orient this tank this way. I've got a nice chain hoist and a beam here, and I can actually, it's got a trolley, I can roll this thing all over the shop hanging off that beam, which is a really nice feature. So we set up the laser, and that'll make this weird curved line, because it actually will start here and then curve up. So it'll actually come to a point at the back that's about 12 inches wide. I can't make it narrower because of that air tank that's inside. And I really want that air tank in there, and I want that size of air tank. And the fact that it can take 3,600 PSI gives me all the latitude in the world. So I'm really pleased about that. And I'm moving along. Oh, and the reason I'm working on this right now, instead of on the engine or other things, because I had to rent oxygen tanks. I have one oxygen tank that I own, but I would have to run to town constantly, which is an hour drive one way, to replace the tank with a full tank. So I rented 2 large tanks so I can just spend the next couple of days just cutting. I'll pre-cut everything that I need cut, and then my regular shop tank, will take care of all the little stuff that I need as I keep building. So today, I'm hoping to get this cut and pulled in. I may not make it. I started at 6 this morning, and it's already 10 o'clock or so, so I may not make it. It doesn't matter. I got all the time in the world. So that's where I'm at. So, fantastic. Ciao.